here are my 5 cards and my visuals. Okay. This is a crocheted softball that I made with yarn and polyfill, and it is super soft, easy to the touch. If you were to play a fake softball game with an actual size soft softball just like this, wouldn't it be difficult? Wouldn't it be hard? Would be pretty easy. This is a real softball, and you can clearly see it's not soft and it's not squishy at all. Now, a lot of people think that softball is an easy game and that it's not hard at all. But in reality, it's a hard game, and it's actually harder than baseball. And today, I'm going to be proving to you how it is harder than baseball. And hopefully, by listening, I'll provide you with different facts and evidence, and will offer you a new perspective on how softball is harder than baseball and the two sports compared to each other. So, a little bit about me and my experiences. I have been playing softball for 6 years, but I've never played baseball, so I can't really tell you which one is harder because I haven't played both. But I have had a lot of research, and I have been watching both professional softball and baseball for a lot of years, so that's where the facts are coming from, and I'm about to tell you how softball is harder than baseball. So, softball players in the batter's box have a 20% less reaction time than a baseball player. In softball, the mound to the batter's box is 40 feet. Now, whenever it's pitched, it's actually 37 feet. And that's at an average of 70 miles an hour, which leaves a softball batter 0.35 seconds to decide if they want to swing or not. And in softball, pitchers can dramatically change a pitch to be from 70 miles an hour to something like 40 miles an hour. And so with 0.35 seconds to react, that can be incredibly difficult compared to baseball, where it's 55 feet from the batter's box, and it's released at 90 miles an hour, which is a bit faster, but it's farther away, and that leaves baseball players with 0.44 seconds to react, which is 20% more time than a softball player would have. So, hitting in softball is definitely harder than hitting in baseball because you have way less reaction time, and the pitches can change speed dramatically. Now, not only do batters have less reaction time, but also fielders. Softball infielders have 50% less reaction time than baseball fielders. Softball has advantages too, to where they have slappers. Those are people who are left-handed and can slap the ball onto the infield that's already closer than baseball is, and that leaves them with way less reaction time because they're actually running towards a fielder. They're running towards the field, which leaves them with almost zero time to get an out. So, they're closer, but also they play in front of the bases. In baseball, they play behind the bases, and they have 4.3 seconds to react and get an out. Now, in softball, because we play in front of the bases, and bases are 60 feet apart, and baseball bases are 90 feet apart, that's already a ton closer for softball players to be playing in front of the batter than it is for the baseball players. Also, for places like third base, sometimes on specific scenarios, they can get as close to 40 feet to the batter's box. Baseball never has to be that close. So I would say reaction time for infielders in softball is definitely way less than it is for baseball. But another reason that softball would be harder is the distance of the bases and just the distance of the field. So for softball players, whenever they are on base, they have 60 feet to run. 60 feet between bases. In baseball, they have 90 feet between bases, which obviously, baseball, it must be harder to steal a base because it's so far away. But is it really? In softball, you have a lot of rules whether you can get off the base or stay on. And here are some of those rules. So, in softball, before you steal a base, you cannot even get your foot off the base until the pitcher has released the ball. It's already gone all the way around and been released. Then you can get a lead and run. That leaves you with little time from when the catcher gets the ball to you getting to second. It leaves you with almost no time to steal. In baseball, they can get off the base well before the pitcher even goes into motion of throwing to the batter. They also can get a secondary, which is just a second lead, and then go. They have way more time to react, and they have way more time to get closer to the base, and they're just closer in general. So it's definitely harder for a softball player to steal than it would be for a baseball player, because softball players literally cannot even get off the base, and baseball players can just be sitting there well off the base before the pitcher even throws the ball. So, hopefully by listening to those 3 points, you now know facts and evidence on how softball is harder than baseball, and hopefully you have a new perspective because of the facts that were presented to you on how softball players have less reaction time as batters They also have less reaction time as infielders, and they have a harder time stealing because there's so many rules about getting off of base or staying on. So, softball is harder than baseball, and it is scientifically proven so. Thank you.